my friends. Welcome to God Focus this morning. The title of today's episode is Seasons of Time. Ecclesiastes 3:1. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. Today I want to talk to you about time and God's perfect timing. Every situation has a turning point. We sometimes spend so much time in a storm that we cannot see when it's turning around. We often stand at the crossroads in life and ask God for guidance. He is there even when we feel He doesn't answer. We ask for Him to open doors for us to walk through, but sometimes when we ask Him to open the doors, we're not even close enough to see the door to tell if it's open or not. He will work it all out in His time. This is when He says the word that we all hate to hear from God, the word wait. He has called us to do a specific thing in the body. How do we find our place in the body? This is a question I've often asked myself. We are called to be lights and witnesses. Where and how do we begin? Prayer is the first choice I can think of. Pray for guidance, wisdom, and God to open those doors. I pray, Lord, put someone in my path today that I can be a light to or offer help. When we pray this prayer, He always answers because He wants willing vessels. I was pondering the open door of opportunity. God often calls us to a task long before we actually get to walk in that calling. God prepares the way ahead of time. Look all through the Bible. He always has a plan in place. We just need to trust that He will open the door for us to walk through when He is ready for us to move into that space behind the door. Until then, we need to just trust that He will see us through whatever our situation. We need to pray for God's timing. This is called Kairos timing. Kairos is a Greek word which means God's perfect timing, an appointed time to change the course of all involved. Kairos timing says His ways are higher than yours or mine, and this is not to be confused with Chronos, which is what governs our day-to-day. It is where we get the word chronological. We cannot walk through our door of opportunity in God's plan until the Chronos meets the Kairos. I'm sure that most people have a time in their life that they felt like they wasted themselves on a job, a relationship, or a project. We look at that time with regret. But since God is outside of time, He can accelerate us and put us back on track as though we had never been sidetracked. God's timing is perfect, and He allowed for the detour when making His plan. Moses had to end up in the desert in order to see the burning bush. If he had stayed in Egypt, he would have never accomplished his calling. He would have missed his Kairos moment. It took his whole life to prepare him to walk into his calling. This was his Chronos time. We were always taught the reason Moses was put in a basket as a baby was to save his life. This is true, however, there was a deeper purpose. If he had lived with his family, he would have grown up with a slave mentality. He would have never developed the skills of good leadership as a slave. These were skills he learned in the palaces of the Pharaoh. But when God sent him, he acted like we do. He started making excuses. God took care of all of his excuses and opened the door. Pharaoh would have intimidated most people, but Moses grew up with him, so he was not at all intimidated by his position of authority. Sometimes we wonder why we are in the middle of a struggle. Why do we stand at the crossroads so long? Maybe it's because we have to wait for the right time to step out and walk. Just like Peter had to step out of the boat at the right time. If it had stepped out too soon, it could have been disastrous. But with the right timing, Jesus was there to help him walk and catch him when he fell. But if he had waited too long, Christ may have been on shore. If this had happened, the results may have been different. Timing is vitally important. Understanding that there's a Kairos time for every season of our life doesn't make the waiting any easier. But we cannot be like Abraham and end up with an Ishmael that we created and will only cause us trouble. We need to be patient with God and allow Him to work in our lives. He knows the right timing of everything. He understands the perfect time to send our Isaac. He is the God of opportunity. He will open the door when it is the right time. Just be ready to walk through the door of opportunity when the everyday meets God's perfect timing. Thanks for watching. Until next time, be bold, be brave, and keep your God focus. Like, share, and subscribe for more encouragement. Have a wonderful day.